Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and it's looking like the father of Mario, again, has just teased the next Mario reveal. Now last time this happened, in the next Nintendo Direct, soon after, we saw the next new Mario title, Mario Wonder. Could it be that this time around, Miyamoto is suggesting in the next upcoming Direct, we're going to see the next brand new Mario title? A lot of us have been waiting for the next new 3D Mario. Is it finally time for the game to be revealed in a Nintendo Direct that many of us believe is happening next month, in June? Maybe we have to wait longer, hard to say for sure, but there are certainly several angles here to consider, and it's very interesting. So that's what we're getting into today. But first, here's a brief message. If you are like me, you probably don't like having too many unhealthy energy drinks. I remember one time I had a Red Bull at the wrong time, and let's just say it did not give me wings. But maybe I'm a bit weird. I don't even like coffee. But I still gotta get up early in the mornings, I gotta find a way to focus with my work, keep myself going when I'm playing sports or working out, and at the end of the day, it would be nice if I still had some energy left over to play some games too. There is no replacing a healthy diet or good rest, but these powders from Drink Gamer Girl can certainly help and make for some tasty drinks with various flavors. Their energy powders provide clean energy. It's sugar-free and only 10 calories per serving with natural caffeine sourced from green tea. Then there is the Focus Powders. It's great to help you focus during your gaming or studying sessions, one of the standout ingredients being alpha GPC, known for supporting brain function and memory. And finally, there's the hydration powders providing all-day recovery. This one is caffeine-free, great for any time in the day, including workouts. It's an optimized electrolyte blend to help keep you hydrated. I use this one a lot. Drink Gamer Girl actually works with a lot of creators to create custom designs with flavors you can choose. For example, with the hydration powder, I have this delicious lychee flavor adorned with the channel logo. So if you're looking for some tasty yet healthy energy drink solutions, and maybe your own custom merch, check out Drink Gamer Girl using promo code DGG for 10% off one item or add 2 more to the cart for even more savings when you also click with the link in the description below. So I'm going to point out a couple things just so you see where I'm coming from here. Yesterday, I put out a video where I talked about how Nintendo has forecasted that they'll be selling 16.5 million Switch 2 units in this current fiscal year. That's their initial forecast. And I point out that it's their initial forecast because we go back to the last fiscal year, they initially forecasted 15 million, but then revised that later on to the year to 19 million, and then still even exceeded that at 19.86 million. So it may be the case that Nintendo is lowballing here like last year, and they might actually have a bit more going on. Well, Bloomberg recently reported that Nintendo's actually looking to assemble even more Switch 2 units for this fiscal year. They're aiming for about 20 million, which would suggest that, yeah, they might actually be lowballing again, and they could be planning for something big and impressive. Like, for example, as they mentioned in their Q&A with their investors, that Pokemon Pokopia also proved to be a system seller. That came out in March. It gave them a little bit more to close out the fiscal year and hit this number of 19.86 million, which surpassed even their revised forecast. And so yesterday I talked about how Nintendo is actually perhaps preparing for a year even bigger than our already somewhat optimistic expectations, which could mean for some surprises, perhaps even 3D Mario making it out in this fiscal year. Now maybe that's optimistic, because we have heard from Nate the Hate and others who have reported about Star Fox and Ocarina of Time Remake and other things such as Splatoon Raiders for the summer, many of which have already been confirmed, that 3D Mario will not be coming out until 2027. But when you take a look at the history of things, usually Nintendo tries to get out their mainline new Mario title, if not by that first holiday of the console generation, the second. So if these reports prove to be true, and already a big part of these reports have already been proven true, then that would mean that 3D Mario will not be coming out for this holiday. But even if that's the case, that does not mean 3D Mario could be very far off. What if Nintendo is planning something crazy here, and they're going to tease the next 3D Mario perhaps in the next upcoming Direct as something for next year, and it could even come out as early as the fiscal year closing game, similar to Pokemon Pokopia, this upcoming March. That would be a bit unprecedented, but then also, it is kind of unprecedented for a new 3D Mario for a new console generation to not be out by the second holiday. Which brings us to the latest update here from Shigeru Miyamoto, as we see here shared by Nintendo on Twitter. In a special Mario 40th anniversary issue of Casa Brutus, Shigeru Miyamoto spoke about how he's looking forward to the next Mario game. With the achievement of Super Mario Odyssey, I think we've gotten everything we wanted out of the Switch system, Switch 1. Up to now, we've released new Mario titles with the advent of each console. This is talking about what I just got at, how Nintendo likes to put out mainline Marios early on for every generation. I'm excited to see how the current team will handle that. And so Miyamoto here is teasing the next Mario title. He is talking about it now. He's not giving us any significant details here, but he's speaking of it, and that alone, I believe, is a teaser. Now, some context matters here, because Miyamoto has done this before, actually. So we go back to his Variety magazine interview. There was actually a whole video interview, but I'm just going to go through the text because it's a little bit easier. But this came out April 4th of 2023, around when the Mario movie came out, the first one, and at the time, we didn't know about what was next for Mario, and we got the Mario Wonder reveal in the next Nintendo Direct, which happened in June. And so this is what was written here. But when asked when fans can expect the next mainline Mario game, Miyamoto began chuckling before his translator could even relay the question. Teasing, "All I can say is please stay tuned for future Nintendo Directs." And I remember when this came out, I put out my own video, I talked about it, there were people who disagreed, but I was saying, looks like Miyamoto's suggesting we should be paying attention to the next Nintendo Direct, because there may be a Mario reveal there. And what happened 2 months later, in June, in a Nintendo Direct? They revealed the first new 2D Mario in many, many years, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which came out October of that year. And so yes, Miyamoto teased the next new Mario back in 2023 in similar fashion. The Mario movie was just coming out, he was involved in an interview, and he talked about something, and then the next Nintendo Direct shortly after, Mario's revealed. Looking at this scenario, the Mario Galaxy movie just came out, here's an interview, Miyamoto talks about the next Mario, we're expecting a Nintendo Direct next month in June. It seems like things are somewhat aligned here, and we could be looking at a very similar scenario. Now, there is a big difference. A lot of us are not expecting the Mario game to come out this year based off the reported leaks, a big part of which have already been confirmed. And so there may not necessarily be a need to reveal the next new 3D Mario so soon if we have something like an ambitious Ocarina of Time remake or Luigi's Mansion 4 or the Dust Bloods to talk about for this holiday instead. Nintendo may want to wait more time before they reveal the next 3D Mario, even if they could show it off now just because they want to have these quicker turnarounds. On the flip side, I think I should also say this. There are always cases where there's going to be a game or two that are revealed a little bit further ahead of time. And I also think it's important for Nintendo to showcase offerings that get people invested into the console's future. Now, we do know about Pokemon Winds and Waves. That's coming out in 2027. So that kind of helps out with that, where there's already something we know that's coming out beyond this year that's exciting, that will get some people believing in the future of the console. But you know, there's this other sentiment that's been going around. If we're just getting a whole bunch of remakes, we're about to get this Star Fox remake that has some extra stuff, but still it is a remake, and if the Ocarina of Time remake is also indeed a remake happening for this holiday, there is going to be this sentiment that Nintendo's not putting out enough brand new titles. So perhaps it would be more meaningful with this point in mind as well to at least tease the next 3D Mario in this upcoming Direct. And we have been waiting a long time for this next Nintendo Direct. I'm not counting the partner showcase, I'm talking about the gaps between the big general Directs, and given that it's early on to the Switch 2 generation, you would think there'd be more reason to be putting out these bigger Direct presentations. So given the amount of time we've waited, perhaps Nintendo is going to come out guns blazing here and have multiple epic reveals that not only excite us for this year, but for what's to come beyond. I'm not sure if I'm ready to predict that the next new 3D Mario will be announced officially in this June Direct that has yet to have been confirmed. But considering what happened in 2023, I think it's definitely something we should at least be keeping in mind. Now, something else I'll bring up, a few months ago, I talked about how we may have gotten a little bit of a hint about the next Mario project from the Donkey Kong Bonanza developers. Now, we know that the Odyssey team, a lot of members from the Odyssey team, worked on Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, a point I've been trying to make, and from what we've also heard from others, the Bonanza team may not be the entire Mario Odyssey team, but rather a spin-off of that team so they can make Donkey Kong moving forward while they're still a team making Mario, which I think just makes a good business sense, because why would you not have a team making the next Mario, which is always extremely important for early on in every Nintendo generation. But that doesn't mean there can't be ideas and crossover between these two different development efforts. So going back to this quote from producer Kenta Motokura, probably we'll see the same sort of phenomena as we did when going from Super Mario Odyssey to Donkey Kong Bonanza, where there were some ideas in development that acted as hints for the future development of Donkey Kong Bonanza. I do expect that will be the case, where some ideas from Donkey Kong Bonanza provide future hints for our next project as well. And so perhaps that's a reference towards the next Donkey Kong game, maybe, but it also could be a reference towards the next Mario title. Now, in Mario Odyssey, they did play around with some of the voxel technology, like with the cheese and the ice and the snow and stuff, but it was on a very small scale. In Bonanza, it was pretty much the entire levels, or like 90-95% of them. Is there something about Bonanza that could be an idea they're carrying over that we'll see in the next new Mario title? One of the ideas that comes to mind to me is that while Bonanza is technically not an open world game, it has these big sandboxes similar to Mario Odyssey, what they did in Bonanza was make it feel like a continuous world. And the maps were huge with a high degree of interaction, more so than we've pretty much ever seen from any Nintendo game ever. Could perhaps some of these elements trickle over into the next Mario title that's been made ground up for the Switch 2, where a lot more is possible? I certainly think so. Or maybe it's more about expanding upon the idea of the companion. So Mario Odyssey had Cappy as the companion, but the companion in Donkey Kong Bonanza was a lot more involved, where you saw a separate whole character model riding on Donkey Kong's shoulder most of the time she would sing. I'm talking about Pauline. And so she had some significant impacts. Not to say Cappy didn't, but Cappy almost felt just kind of more like an extension of Mario. What if in this next Mario title they bring in Yoshi as a companion, and Yoshi would be far more of a significant thing to produce than just Cappy as in Mario's hat? That could be way more involved and could be really interesting in a full-fledged 3D Mario title that's a lot more open, if not totally open world. And so those are just some ideas I'm going to put out there in terms of kind of like what I've been expecting or thinking of in terms of what is possible for the next 3D Mario on Switch 2. But what do you all think? Do you believe we're going to see the next 3D Mario at least teased in the next Nintendo Direct? Or are we going to have to wait long if it doesn't happen then? Is there something to this Miyamoto tease? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. If you've gone this far and you find yourself enjoying the video and you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. But I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.